One of the SEC's leading rushers from last season joins the show. How will he top his top 10 rushing performance last season? Locked On SEC starts right now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. It's great to have you guys along. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Shout out to our everydayers. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Stay with us for the Armada Team of the Week coming up later in the episode. All right, we continue doing our spring previews here all across the conference, and today's show a little bit different. We're going to be previewing LSU, but we're going to be doing it with a current LSU Tiger, and that is LSU freshman running back Caden Durham, who's coming off a fantastic freshman season where he made an impact from the moment he got his opportunity. From joining LSU last summer, was not an early enrollee, got there with a loaded backfield with guys like John Emery and Josh Williams, and was able to move his way up the depth chart and make an impact where he finished as a top 10 rusher in the SEC last season. So we'll talk with him about how he plans to top that performance and look, higher expectations for LSU in 2025. Brian Kelly heading into year 4 in Baton Rouge, and a lot of people expecting, this has to be the year that LSU makes the college football playoff. They bring back the veteran quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, who, he's right up there with Arch Manning among the Heisman favorites on a lot of the early sport books, putting out odds on that. And, you consider the last couple of coaches at LSU were able to get to and win a national championship by year 4. Nick Saban did it. Les Miles did it. Even Ed Orgeron did it. Granted, it took him a generational type quarterback in having Joe Burrow. But Brian Kelly had a generational quarterback himself just 2 years ago in Jaden Daniels. But the defense was so awful that year, they were not able to make the playoff. The hope here is that Garrett Nussmeier makes that big jump from last season to this season and can bring that elite play that both Burrow and Daniels brought. But one of those pieces that could help them is a dominant run game. Certainly Caden Durham hopes to be that guy. So without further ado, here was our conversation with LSU running back Caden Durham. One of the nation's top running backs from the class of 2024 certainly lived up to the hype, earning freshman All-SEC honors in his first season in Baton Rouge. He is LSU running back Caden Durham joining us now here on Locked On SEC. Caden, welcome in, man. How are you?
Man, I'm good, and you?
Doing good, man. This is always that fun time of year, spring ball, where you kind of, it's a little taste of football. It's not fully here yet, but kind of getting ready for the season. Take me back, man, before we get started. Talk about your offseason so far, from when the season ended up until now, the start of spring practice. What's this spring been like for you?
For me, it's been real good. I've never really had a off-season, a spring season, because I usually run track. So for me, it's kind of different. So right now I'm just, working on my, my bench, really, my upper body. Then just, working on my little tweaks and stuff, like the little stuff in football,
I want to talk a little bit about your football journey because it's such a great story. Take me back. You were born and raised in OKC, and somewhere in your high school career, your family, you moved to Duncanville, Texas, and of course Duncanville, very famous power high school program. What was that adjustment like for you going to a big time program like that?
I'll say for me, it was a big adjustment coming from Oklahoma. It's like you don't really get a lot of big time recruits out of Oklahoma, or especially where I'm from, the city. You don't get a lot of big time recruits. So moving to Duncanville, it was like a eye opener. Like my first practice, I seen Cameron Williams from Texas, Amari Abar from Ohio State. He at SMU right now. Jalen Early, Jarrell, like all them big players on offense. Then we got on defense, we had Big Q. He's at SMU, I think, right now. No, he at Sam Houston. So seeing all these 6-footers, I've never seen that in Oklahoma. So seeing that it's like a big eye opener. Like, damn, I got it's a lot of potential out here. So I got to live up. I got to step my game up so I can be able to be on the field with them.
So you end up getting to Duncanville, and you guys go back-to-back state titles in football, and showing off your track speed. And I know the trend nowadays is, look, you want to graduate early, you want to become an early enrollee, you want to get to college campus quicker. But I read that you wanted to finish out your last spring in high school because you'd committed to finish things out with track and field. How difficult was that this decision not to go early enroll, which is now the trend?
No, it was easy for me because I like running track. Track was my first love. My mama ran track in college, so me running track, I had that. I had to do that. And it's like we had potential to break national records that we did. So I knew the reason I was staying back and I had to accomplish my goal because I want to finish with high school. Yeah.
So you get to LSU last summer, and it's a loaded backfield already. I mean, you had the super seniors in John Emery and Josh Williams. Caleb Jackson was coming off his freshman year. Take me through, how did you approach that, stepping into a situation where it kind of looked like there were a bunch of guys ahead of you on the depth chart?
So coming to Duncanville, I was fourth on the depth chart too. So I'm used to, coming from the bottom and working my way up. So it was just learning the playbook off rip, then just being me, being an athlete when the ball gets given to me, be me, make plays. So it really wasn't nothing crazy to me. I just had to do what I know that I could do.
I was out there in Las Vegas for the opener against USC, and obviously it didn't go you guys' way, but you end up John Emery gets lost in that season opener, and so it kind of opens the door for you to start to move up the depth chart. But it was really that week 3 game, that game at South Carolina, where you had your breakout game. What was it that day where you were just able to make the most out of your opportunity?
I was just trusting myself and trusting my coach and trusting my coaching. Coach Frank told me this and that was going to be open. So I trusted him and did what he said. And after that, I was just being me.
It was a wild game, too, how that game played out. And it ended up being a big win for you guys, because down the stretch last year, South Carolina ends up as being one of the hottest teams in the country. So it was almost like, looking back on it, that win got better and better as the year went along, right?
Right, most definitely.
A few weeks later against South Alabama, you were absolutely electric. 128 rush yards, 89 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, all in the first half. And you got banged up in that game, dislocated 2 toes. Tell me about the injury, because I think it was when Miles Frazier fell on your leg during the touchdown run. I mean, that had to be like, oh, man, because you were off ready to break records that day.
Nah, most definitely. But nah, it didn't happen then. It happened towards the end of towards halftime. I had caught a little swing pass, and somebody had jumped on top of my back, and my toe just popped up. But yeah, I was on the way to breaking some records. Coach Frank was telling me that, so I was hyped and ready. But whatever happened. Everything in God's plan.
Yeah, luckily the injury wasn't that serious. You were able to get out there a few weeks later against Ole Miss. You guys win that one, and then you have another 100-yard rushing day in the game against Arkansas. I mean, it had to feel like you're just a few weeks into your college career, but was everything starting to come easier to you at that point?
I feel like everything was coming to me, like me learning the full playbook, learning college football schemes from defense to offense. It was like everything was coming along, so most definitely.
You still ran the ball well in the losses to Alabama and Florida, and then you guys finished the season strong. You end up beating Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and then the bowl game against Baylor. You end up finished 10th overall in the SEC in rushing yards. I believe no other freshman back had more rushing yards than you last season. When you look back on your freshman year, what stands out most from what you were able to learn about yourself in the college game?
I would say my toughness, being able to get hit and get back up and get ready to play another down, or mess up, get yelled at, and get back to my mode and be able to play the football that I know I can play.
I love the way you run. And I think this is the track part of you. It's like you run with great balance. You have this upper body, but your legs, it just feels like the way you run, you just have full control of your body when you run. Is that where that track training comes into play?
I'll say yes, most definitely, because in track, we work a lot of hips, ankle mobility, all that. So I got to give thanks to my track coach, Coach Brookins. He helped me a lot, with all that.
More with Caden Durham in just a second, but our Armada Team of the Week is brought to you by our friends at Nissan and the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. And each week, our Locked On College basketball experts are picking one team that stands apart, from top-seeded stars to the unexpected upsets. These guys showcase the strength and sheer power needed to push their team forward. And this week's Armada and clear-cut team of the week, the Duke Blue Devils. John Shire's team, led by National Player of the Year candidate Cooper Flagg, just ripped through the ACC, going 19-1. The Blue Devils were plus 434 in ACC games, the largest point differential by a power conference team at league play since Kentucky in the 1950s. When it comes to the Nissan Armada, they say go forth and conquer. And that's exactly what Duke has done here. It's clear that the team of the week is out here ready to conquer the road ahead with confidence, just like you can in the all-new Nissan Armada or any of Nissan's outstanding vehicles. Take the Nissan Armada, Rogue, or Pathfinder and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Continue our conversation with Caden Durham, LSU running back. It looked like as the year went along, too, you started to improve in pass protection. Is that the hardest part? At least guys I talk to.
Yes.
That's one of the hardest parts coming in as a freshman is, look, you can run between the tackles. You did that all your life, but it's that pass protection that really is the hardest adjustment, right?
Most definitely. That's what I had to learn coming in, because me coming in May, we was just doing running routes and all that. Then come August, you got on a block. I'm like, huh? Because I ain't, like, in high school I blocked, but I ain't really, like, I wasn't blocking Colin Simmons or none of that. I was blocking like some regular people. So when come August, fall camp, coach, we're going one-on-one blocking for 5 minutes straight. I'm like, it's crazy. Trying to block Perk, Witt, West, all them guys it's gonna build character for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of, it's great that you guys get Harold Perkins coming back for another year. You get Whit Weeks, who was awesome. You get, his brother. I mean, it's been great to watch those guys develop. But looking at you, the returning rushers in the SEC, Trey Wisner is going to be back at Texas. Diego Pavia is back at Vanderbilt. Le'Veon Moss back at A&M, and Devon Booth back at Mississippi State. So I guess you have a real chance as a sophomore to make that leap. And if all goes well, you could, once again be a top 10, maybe top 5 rusher in the league this year. Do you set goals like that for yourself, or is it just kind of, look, whatever happens? We want to get the wins?
As you can, I'm gonna show you my screen. The Doak Walker Award. That's my goal. So it don't matter if I get it my sophomore year, my junior year, but that's my goal. So,
well, as we know, a couple times in recent years, the guy who led the SEC in rushing, a lot of times is either a finalist or winning that award. So usually kind of works out that way anyway. But I want to talk a little bit about one of your high school teammates also had an immediate impact at his school, and that was Colin Simmons over at Texas. Mm-hmm. I know he was considering LSU. How close was he to joining you in Baton Rouge, or was it kind of set you were going to LSU, he was going to Texas?
Nah, it really came down to the last moment, whenever he picked his hat up, he was debating the whole time. Well, I wouldn't say it came like the night of the decision. He was debating. He really ain't know till the night of. He prayed the guy, and whatever God told him we was going with, we was going with. So yeah, he went to Texas. That's all it was.
Well, you guys don't have them on the schedule, but SEC championship game could be an LSU-Texas matchup.
That's gonna be the game of the century. Me and him. I ain't gonna lie. We're gonna have fun. Definitely.
Another one of your high school teammates, your quarterback, Keelon Russell, just arrived on campus over at Alabama. I know he's trying to, compete for that starting job at Tuscaloosa. Based on what you know of playing with Keelon, is he a guy you think that could come in there and immediately compete for that starting job?
Most definitely. I feel like just by the way he plays football, the amount of football he knows, his IQ, his grit, his hard working, his mindset. He has the mindset of you're not beating me at my spot. You feel me? I want this, and you're not taking it from me. So this, I'm most definitely think he's gonna win a starting job and when we play him, I'm gonna see him.
I was gonna say now that is a school that's on your schedule. So I mean that week it's you're gonna have to huddle up all the defense and go, let me give you his tendencies. Let me tell you what.
Most definitely. But I feel like he'll still, do him. He a good athlete and he a good quarterback, so he gonna make plays. And it is what it is.
It's crazy though. I mean, all from the same high school, and you guys are all making names for yourselves in the biggest conference in college football. It's cool. It speaks highly about where you came from. You mentioned earlier your mom ran track. We mentioned you grew up in Oklahoma City. I got to think that game against Oklahoma finished last season had to be a little bit extra special to you, right?
Most definitely. It touched down because all my life growing up, we was OU, Boomer Sooner. Like I ain't never want to go nowhere else really. Like OU was like my dream school growing up, just because my mama went there, my uncle went there. When I growing up, we always watched OU at my grandma's house, so like OU was the school to beat. But as I got older and I realized the ins and outs of college football, what I could do, Coach Frank just won my heart over.
Now there were internet rumors, and look, take internet rumors with a grain of salt because they're always, they are what they are. But I remember reading back in December, January, some silly reports that Caden Durham might be entering the transfer portal. I think it was Patrick Kelly had some fun with it. He posted a picture of you working on a computer. But did you consider entering the portal, or was that all just internet message board stuff?
That was all internet. I never considered the portal. I'm locked in LSU.
Well, that said, did I see you got some ink this offseason?
Most definitely, I got it tatted on me. I'm locked in. Most definitely.
I was gonna say, so it's the LSU name and the eye of the tiger tatted on your arm. So I mean, at this point, Caden, I don't think you can go anywhere else. I think you're kind of locked in now.
Most definitely.
We're talking with Caden Durham, LSU running back. You mentioned your running backs coach. You got a legend in Frank Wilson there. We know the track record of Coach Frank and all the great players he's coached, from Leonard Fournette, Stephen Ridley, Jeremy Hill. I mean, the list goes on. And he helped recruit Tyrann Mathieu, Odell Beckham, and those guys. But what is it about Coach Frank that makes him so special?
Me personally, I'd say just him as a person. He's never gonna lie to you. He's gonna keep 100 through and through. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. But that's what I like, me personally, because growing up, my parents always kept 100 with me. They're gonna tell me this, that, and the third, and either go like it or you don't. And then it's like the way he coached, it's just like the way he feed off energy to you. It makes you want to. The way he talked to you make you think you can run through a big wall 5 times back to back to back. Just it's just the way he talks to you, the way he breathes life into you. It's just. Man, it's different. It's different.
I'm a big fan of his, so you won't get any pushback on that from me. Coach Frank he's been doing it a long time there. Let's talk about this year's squad, Caden. You guys have to retool the offensive line a little bit. You lose guys like Will Campbell and Emory Jones, but some portal guys come in: Braylon Moore, Josh Thompson. I know you got other guys that are hungry: Paul Mubenga, Tyree Adams, Weston Davis. Got their feet wet last year. Give us a little scouting report on how this offensive line's looking so far.
I can't really speak on that, but just know we're definitely going to run the ball. That's 110%. We're going to run the ball. So take that how you want to.
Yeah, certainly we'll see you guys on the practice field here real soon. The headliner of the bunch, Garrett Nussmeier, your quarterback, decides to come back for another season. We've seen guys like Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels take that leap their senior seasons at LSU. In your eyes, is Garrett a guy that can make that monster leap and help elevate this team this year?
Most definitely. I feel like, he's the head honcho of this team. So I feel like as he go, we go. So as he's taking the leap, we're gonna take the big leap. And I know he's gonna take the leap. He's already given that energy off. He's taking leadership of the team, leading us in the right direction, and he's gonna lead us to where we need to be.
I think his quote talking about you last year. He called you lightning in a bottle. I know Brian Kelly raved about your ability to understand the playbook and all the nuances of the game. What was it about your preparation that helped you mature so quickly and make an impact at such a young age?
I'll say just knowing what I want, because I know I want to play as a freshman. So knowing I wanted to play as a freshman, I know what I had to do. I had to learn the playbook in and out. And Coach Frank ain't gonna put you in the game if you know the playbook in and out. So I know what I had to do, and I did it. And it was that.
And now you guys got some young guys coming in. Harlem Berry, very highly touted and all this. So it's like look, you were a great freshman year, but that could go by the wayside if you don't keep working hard to keep these young guys behind you, right?
Oh, definitely. But as Coach Frank said, as one eat, all eat. So I feel like if Harlem get in a game, I'm gonna be as happy as I was when I was in the game. So it ain't no L's or nothing. I'm still happy for him.
Yeah, whoever helps win the game, that's all that matters. Just a couple more for you. Let's have some fun. When Caden Durham is not playing football, what are you doing?
or watching movies in my room, like Netflix or something.
Okay, what's the latest thing you watched?
Night Agent. I'm watching that right now.
I just finished it. I'm a big Night Agent fan.
I ain't finished it yet.
Okay. You in season 1 or season 2?
I'm in season 2, most definitely.
Yeah. Season 2, I think, got better.
Most definitely. It's on the rise. I'm on like episode 3, I think. So I ain't deep in it, but it's most definitely on the rise.
You're in for it. It's a really good season as it goes along. I saw you rocking some jewelry. Is that the DC jeweler out there in Dallas taking care of you?
Most definitely. Shout out to him.
So what you got? I saw one. It was the 405 you had, and then you had another one with your number 29 on it, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you gotta look good, right? While you're playing the part.
You know, as they say, if you look good, you play good.
What's number 29? What's the significance in that?
I mean, I've been running since I was 5 years old. You know, my big brother was 28. I want to be better than him, so I found a way to be better than him. I got 29. It wasn't nothing crazy.
Last thing for you, have you played the college football video game? And if so, do they have you properly rated in that?
Nah, I don't really know. You know, I mean, like 85, I think what it is. I mean, I'll take it because, you know, I ain't really produced how I wanted to as a freshman. But, you know, me personally, I know I'm better than that. But I'm going to show it this year, so I ain't really tripping.
It's funny, Caden. Almost everybody asks that question too, though, but everybody says they're better than what the EA
right. Most definitely.
So.
But me personally, I take it because I ain't really tripping because I know I ain't really do too much as a freshman, so I take like an 84, 85.
All right, last thing for you. You're there in Baton Rouge. We know the good eating in Louisiana. What's the go-to food spot right now?
Me personally, I've been eating McDonald's since I was 7 years old, and I ain't stopped yet. So I'm quick to go get some McDonald's every day.
They got McDonald's everywhere, though.
That's the point, and I get it everywhere I go. Coach Frank, like even on like when I was getting recruited, my OV, I wanted McDonald's. I'm not gonna lie, I got some McDonald's. That's me.
You were easy then. They didn't have to.
Yeah. I'm an easy guy. I'm real easy. You ain't got to take me to Roof Chris, the little steak stab. No. All I need is McDonald's and I'm good.
Okay. Well, I like walk-ons. I like chimes. I mean, they got some spots there.
Yeah, I don't like sitting down and eating though. I like pick my food up and going. I don't like sitting down and eating, seeing people and being around people. That ain't my cup of tea.
I love that. The running back can't sit still. He's got to get his food and go. Keep moving. Mm-hmm. Caden, great to talk with you, man. Best of luck to you this season. I know you guys are about to hit the grind of spring practice and everything. And best of luck to you, man. And let's do this again next year and talk about, hey, maybe a Doak Walker Award in the trophy case. All right?
It's all in God's hand. It's good.
Thanks, man. We'll be right back. More Locked On SEC right after this.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks again to Caden Durham. And hey, if you're an SEC fan, if you're an LSU fan, if you ever wish you could directly support your favorite SEC athlete and be part of their journey, well, now you can with Roy, the NIL app that puts fans in control. Before Roy, NIL deals were often handled behind closed doors, and fans like you did not have a clear way to directly support the players you love. But now with Roy, you can make a real impact and feel closer to the athletes representing your school. With Roy, you get to choose the player you want to support, decide how much you want to contribute, plus get exclusive content straight from the athletes that you back. And the best part, if your player transfers, you get your money back. So it's a risk-free way to show your support and make your voice heard. Go support your favorite players directly and help shape the future of your SEC school and sports. Download the Roy app now from the App Store and start backing your favorite SEC athlete the way they deserve with transparency, trust, and real impact. This is the future of college sports. Join in now by downloading Roy and supporting your favorite players. All right, roll along here. Locked On SEC, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Our thanks again to Caden Durham. Appreciate him taking some time out here. We did have some SEC news we needed to get to before we wrap things up on today's episode. So let's dive into it. Let's get to a little bit of news, some football, basketball, baseball tidbits we will jump into. We start over at the University of Florida as Billy Napier formally announced the addition of Robert Bala to his coaching staff on Monday. Bala was reportedly hired back in February, but on Monday he was officially named the inside linebackers coach and co-defensive coordinator. Billy Napier saying in a statement, "I'm excited about Coach Balla joining our staff. He loves the game of football, brings passion and detail at every opportunity. He's a great teacher, has a great understanding of the big picture." Balla also coached inside linebackers at Washington last year, his only season with the Huskies, but he has SEC experience, coached inside backers on Nick Saban's Alabama staff in 2023. Balla did thank Ron Roberts, the veteran defense coordinator who joined the Florida staff last year. He said, "I'm humbled and grateful for this opportunity to join the University of Florida. Thank you to Coach Napier, Coach Roberts, and the rest of this staff. Can't wait to start working with these great players and make Gator Nation proud." Balla with 16 seasons of coaching experience. Let's see what he does to help those linebackers there at the University of Florida. In basketball news, we got our men's basketball players named to the awards, postseason awards. On Monday, the conference recognized the top performers of the season, individual honors given out. And here's how it shaped up. Coach of the year went to Bruce Pearl at Auburn. Player of the year went to Janai Broom at Auburn. Scholar Athlete of the Year, Benjamin Bozeman's Verdonk at South Carolina. Newcomer of the Year, Chaz Lanier at Tennessee. Freshman of the Year, Trey Johnson at Texas. Sixth Man of the Year, Caleb Grill at Mizzou. And Defensive Player of the Year, Zakai Ziegler at Tennessee. We won't run through all the teams, but of note, making the all-SEC first team, it was Janai Broom over at Auburn. And Walter Clayton Jr. at Florida. Mark Sears at Alabama. Wade Taylor at Texas A&M. And Zakai Ziegler at Tennessee. Pretty formidable group there. And the AP poll came out yesterday. Auburn dropping a bit after their two losses last week to Texas A&M and Alabama. So the AP top 25, Duke number 1, Houston number 2, Auburn falls to number 3. They've been sitting at that number 1 spot for so much of the season, but they fall to 3 heading into SEC tournament week. Florida at 4, Alabama at 5. So SEC teams at 3, 4, and 5 in the rankings. Tennessee coming in at number 8. Texas A&M number 14, Kentucky number 15, and Mizzou at number 21. So there are your SEC teams in the AP Top 25 heading into SEC tournament week. How about some SEC news over on the Diamond? SEC baseball continued to dominate the early portion of the college baseball season, placing 12 teams in D1 baseball's latest top 25. You got LSU 1, Tennessee 2, Arkansas 3, Georgia 4. So the top 4 teams in the country, according to D1 baseball, all from the SEC. Then you go down a little bit. You got Texas at 11, Oklahoma at 12, Ole Miss at 13, Vanderbilt at 16, Bama at 17, Texas A&M at 19, and then Auburn sneaking in the back door at number 25 in the rankings. So that is just absolutely ridiculous to have 12 teams in the top 25, but tells you how good SEC baseball is going so far this season. And there you have it. That is the latest news going on around the conference. Our thanks again to Caden Durham for joining us and talking all things LSU. We'll continue our player series. We'll have some more players joining us throughout this week and the coming weeks as spring football continues around the SEC and college campuses alike. I'm Chris Gordy. Thank you guys so much for making us your first listen today. Hey, for your second listen, check out the Locked On College Basketball Show with Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. March is here, so be the most informed college basketball fan throughout the madness. Find Locked On College Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm Chris Gordy. This has been Locked On SEC. Come on back tomorrow and join us. We'll talk to you guys then.